Yes? Oh gosh. Oh Lord. Yes? Sit down here with me, baby. I winning my first Oscar tonight. I know they're making joke about we, but I find her dressed up too nice to fight. So I decide to laugh it off, but my wife go say that I'm soft. So I decide I go mash up the place and slap Chris Rock in his face. Cause woman don't like soft man. Woman don't like soft man. Oh gosh.
They want a man, not a woman.
Yes.
Responsible and the concern.
Right.
A man who lays down his stern. A man who could stand up firm.
Woman don't like soft man. Welcome to episode 90. What did we reach? 93? 91, 92? Welcome to somewhere in the 90s of the Croatia podcast. I know, like, I get slapper confused, a little dazzled. Let me see if I can get through this intro. I feel like I get the bellas. You can find this podcast on any one of your podcast platforms: Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Audible, anywhere you find it. Please subscribe. Don't just wait for me to send out the link every week because I'm getting tired. Just now, I start posting on social media and think I'm not a young man. Also, you can find the podcast on YouTube. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And we have a thing called notifications on YouTube, right? Once you subscribe to the podcast apps, it will automatically come up on your phone once a new episode published. But especially over the next few weeks, please hit the notification bell. That way you will know when I post it, because it's come out every Tuesday morning-ish. You know what I mean? Woman don't like soft man. What's the great penguin they say, boy? Listen, I was in so much of shock. Like, I went straight into this thing and I think get penguin one of the greatest to ever do it. You know what I mean? I went straight into this thing. I don't know what I went for. I had a whole set of topic planning now. I'll tell you something. I say, you know what, to avoid this Tuesday thing. Because when I released one last week Friday and I had to release one Tuesday again, I'm in trouble, you know, because I feel like I recording a podcast every day at that point. So I say, well, here what I go do. I go record Sunday morning early so that I just had to edit for Tuesday morning and people could go back to the regular routine. Because, I'm not always make Joe Budden Tuesday and thing, but as a podcast listener myself, Joe Budden being my favorite one, I know what it feels like when you wake up that morning and you pull that thing and you refresh and nothing come up. That is not the intention. So the intention is to be consistent. So I say, you know what, I will switch to the little Sunday recording, give myself enough time to edit and do the people work and everybody good. You know what I mean? But it's a good thing me do that because I would have to record twice, because I don't know if you're living under a rock or what, but let me just let you know that during the Oscars last night, which nobody wasn't watching, on Sunday night, sorry, but nobody wasn't watching that. Will Smith hit Chris Rock at Bellas. Listen, I don't know what went wrong. I was just on my phone and Twitter. My father and them come and play some little card. If you notice, if you usually watch this podcast, you usually see a trophy somewhere around here. My trophy is gone. My father come and take it from me. He went out the year last year, so now I'm trying to fight so I could put back a trophy. My one little piece of decor is now off the podcast. But this thing, I don't know who was watching that. I don't know if you see that live. I cannot imagine what it was like if you like the Oscars and you're watching the little thing. If you like the Oscars, you could like anything. But if you enjoy the Oscars and you take anything and that happened like, well, while you're watching, I can't imagine what that was like for you. That thing was bothersome for me. I just was going through Twitter and I see like Will Smith hit Chris Rock. It looks so weird. You know what I mean? And you know, your first instinct is, this thing real or it not real? Because, all right, so the joke, he was making jokes about people. Chris Rock went up there to present an award. He wasn't the host, right? I think they had 3 women hosting it. Amy Schumer, somebody and somebody else. Right? They was hosting it. And Chris Rock really just went up to present an award for a documentary film or documentary or whatsoever you call it. And while he doing this, is that comedian, so he makes some jokes about some people. He tell a couple, He said, boy, the most uncomfortable man in here right now is this man because he frightened to win if his wife lost. Two of them not nominated for the same category. Go be a long ride home, which is a funny joke. But little did he realize that the most uncomfortable man in the place was the legend Will Smith. It's the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air himself. Ali was uncomfortable like hell in his seat. I don't know what's going on. So the next thing Chris Rock say in passing, because you know how he's going them award shows. I saw the best person I ever see do it was Kevin Hart, who coincidentally Chris Rock going on tour with very soon. I'm sure Chris Rock is rejigging his act for that tour right now because he can't go on stage and not address that. But Kevin Hart had done one at a time where he walked with a set of security behind him. It might have been an MTV Awards or something because we know what happened to Kevin Hart with the hosting of the Oscars, right? So Kevin Hart chances just went down again from ever hosting the Oscars. This fella having a rough time. But Kevin Hart came up with a bunch of security behind him and said, listen, there's so much of rappers inside here. I think it was MTV Music Awards. He said, I just walk with my security and thing. And he basically just saying, listen, he's sending some people to jail. It was one of the funnier ones, but you're kind of roasting the people in the audience and making jokes about them. I find that is a very, very standard part of all these award shows, not just the Oscars and stuff. But I mean, the Oscars and the Grammys and them being the whitest of these shows might have a little less of that than the MTV Awards and VH1 Awards and BET Awards, which are a little darker in hue, you know what I mean? We tend to make fun of one another. Well, I thought we used to make fun of one another. So it had me very careful now because you see, at my age, I can't take that kind of slap. I want to salute Chris Rock for taking slap. Chris Rock have an iron jaw. The man swinged it. And remember that Will Smith is, he play I Am Legend, big and strong. Was he one with the dog there? That's Legend. He play Ali. He play many. This man is Hitchcock. Chris Rock take a slap from Hitchcock and didn't go down. I don't want to say didn't go down neither. He get his slap. You notice he never put his guard up. Like Chris Rock never watched UFC, MMA. See why I like Joe Rogan? If they should let Joe Rogan host, because I guarantee you that Will Smith wasn't walking up on that stage to hit Joe Rogan, no bellas. We know where to stop, right? Monkey know what tree not to climb. You know what I mean? So, okay, Joe Rogan is a comedian too. He could well be hosting the Oscars. And if he make a joke, Will Smith or anybody else ain't coming to hit no jiu-jitsu black belt that. But poor Chris Rock, the man hit Pookie. Why hit Pookie? But in fairness to Will Smith, when you're dealing with crackhead Pookie, the best thing to hit him is a slapper because think about it, Will Smith could have ball up his fist and knocked that man out because Will Smith was very, very angry. He was angry in the moment. So when Chris Rock finished making the joke about the white folks, the couple who collecting the award, the man saying, looking forward to G.I. Jane 2. Jada, I love you and everything. And you know the funny thing about it, we're going to break this down and we're going to do a deep dive. Every aspect of this thing we're going to get covered because when they pan back to him, after the joke, they show Will and Jada. Will was laughing and Jada was upset. Now, remember he's rolling jokes, so sometimes, you know, instead of my boy Pablo always used to tell me, you can't laugh too long in a comedy, you go miss the joke. You know what I mean? Because jokes coming at you, the jokes rolling, the jokes coming forward. So it could have well be that he was laughing at the joke before. And I think, in fairness to him, he tried to laugh it off. But I would tell him my honest opinion, right? As a Joe Budden podcast listener, many years ago, maybe 2-3 years ago, Will Smith came up as a topic when they were starting, not Red Table Talks. Will Smith was going to start his own podcast. Or maybe that's what they were talking. They might have been talking about Red Table Talks at the time. But whatever the podcast was, it hadn't started yet. And Joe Budden, in his normal way, is basically saying, Will Smith is a fraud. And everybody was like, what? Will Smith is a legend, one of the greatest blacks. I should not say greatest black. One of the greatest black actors we ever had. He do sitcoms, he do movies, he do rapping, you know, Will Smith, squeaky clean and all that. Boy, Joe Budden keeps saying, boy, that man is no squeaky clean. That man is a fraud. He hates Will Smith. That man, and that was a running joke in Joe Budden podcast for years about him hating Will Smith. And little by little, more and more things started to come out about Will Smith where it started to look a little bit false. But it make me start to watch Will Smith when I look into these things now. I say, but there are things about him that are a little bit false. According to Stacey, you don't see it. Of course, the movies he acting. But watch his interviews. Something about him not, like it's a facade you're looking at. Like it's not a real person. I think we see the real person last night. I think the Oscar show us who the real person is. West Philadelphia, born and raised, the man saying, you know. So Do you think, and just this week, Jazzy Jeff was on Breakfast Club, you know what I mean? And they have Bel-Air going on now, which is such a, I ain't really started watching it yet, I will get to it, but, Will Smith shining right now, so, the man, something about him something about him false. When he laugh, you have an extra loud and extra hard laugh. And when you go back to a red carpet interview where, this woman, trans woman, you could say that. I could say trans woman. I freeze to get slapped. A trans woman had asked Will Smith and Jada. She was interviewing them, red carpet. And in the end of the interview, I think I might have talked about it here, where she say, we're looking forward to more red table talks, more entanglements, more. And Jada say, no entanglements. Or when you watch back that interview and watch how hard Will Smith laughed. He always have a big false fake laugh. Even if you have an open relationship, who does be comfortable with people talking about I don't even like to talk about my relationship home. When the moment I'm going to tell you, we have to talk about this relationship. Or every man in this is just say, oh, Jesus, guys. We don't want to talk about no relationship. So if you're on a red carpet and people asking you that, every interview was going so good. And the person who asked the question came out and say after, it was one of her first times doing red carpet interviews with live, it coming at you so fast, you're just trying to, and she didn't mean to embarrass them or to put them on the spot or to say anything bad. She adores, it was clear that she loved Will and Jada and she's a true fan. But she just, the entanglement thing gets so associated with Will and Jada name that you come and you bring that up. You watch how he was laughing like a fraud. I will watch something else, right? Go on Twitter. I can't use none of these clips, right? Because it will get pulled on YouTube for sure using the Oscars clips. But there's a clip where Diddy went up on stage after, probably to present another award. And he said, listen, it's all going to be love. Chris and Will going to sort this out at the after party and all this kind of thing, right? At that point, the room was still very uncomfortable. Everybody was feeling the way Lupita Nyong'o was looking. So the room, even though did he make a little joke and he make a little thing, people wasn't sure if to laugh. When he was like, everybody's still watching Will because at that point, you had to wonder who going to get slapped next. But he ain't going to slap Diddy. But when Diddy say that, watch how hard Will Smith laughed when the rest of the room was still visibly uncomfortable and probably shaken too. Like a big fraud. Something about Will Smith is a fraud, I agree with Joe, but not 100%. So when after the moment passed now, where he what's my honest opinion? Will decide he gonna laugh off that or you gonna continue laughing and he gonna play it smooth. You gonna do the PR thing, you gonna do the entanglement thing, how he laugh it off on the black carpet. But you see when Will laugh off that on that black carpet, Jada went home and tell that man, and she's talked long to him. Let me be real. She talked long to him. That's his son. She say, what kind of man you gonna make? Is a man or a half a man? People tell me what's entanglement and embarrassing me and you laughing. You know what I mean? So he find himself in the same moment again so soon after, within a couple of months, the man find, listen, this is rough territory, because now you find yourself in this spot. Boy, and the exact same thing happened. Somebody make a comment about her. She was uncomfortable, but this time, because on the red carpet last time, she kind of laughed it off, but this time she was visibly upset and uncomfortable, understandably so, because now they're joking about a medical condition, not one that you came out and talk about, right? Jada came out and spoke about it, as well as her discomfort with it, how it has her feel is something that she feels insecure about. The red table talk, one thing I like about it, very honest and open in terms of people's feelings, right? So it looked like it easier for her to take jokes about the entanglement and August Alsina and all those types of things than it is for her to deal with jokes about her medical condition. Because even when Will was on his show with the famous crying meme, if you go back and you watch that red table talk, while they were talking about it, Will Smith looked uncomfortable every single part of that. For a lot of the interview, he sit down like this. Looking sad in the facing. And false laughing. But Jada's leg was crossed up in the chair. She said uncomfortable, laughing at different things. Yes, it was thick. And remember, the word entanglement came about when, because Will Smith called out the BS about that word entanglement, and that's the word that stick. But she said August and I ended up in entanglement. And Will Smith, entanglement, Jada, really? Entanglement? And then she say, well, relationship. So she was so comfortable. She's still going along with the story and laughing and talking while Will is visibly uncomfortable. But clearly, this medical condition is a sore spot. The reality is this, right? All of us have sore spots. I agree with I kind of like the idea of a comedian being able to say what they want. And I make joke about real inappropriate things too. So I can understand where... Is it somebody like me will always defend that, even though, let me say this, it's a bad joke. It's an insensitive joke. It was also not a very funny joke. It was hacky. It's cheap for what Chris Rock is, right? It's a cheap joke. It's a cheap shot at somebody. It's unnecessary. And also in shows like those, you're not in a comedy club where people come to be ridiculed. You're not at a roast like when they roast Flavor Flav and all that. I remember when Flavor Flav had the roast, when Comedy Central used to do roast, right? Cat Williams say he was real mad. He said the jokes were sounding racist, like they're talking about Flavor Flav with black and he burnt and this and he said Flavor Flav just keep laughing. And he said people in the room, the audience started getting uncomfortable and Cat was vexed. Cat say he went into Flavor Flav dressing room to say, hey, you will mash up this place or you will fight them, because he said you ready to buy the fight. And Flavor Flav laughed and he said, boy, just keep calm, it's just jokes. He said, I'm getting paid. He said they got to pay me. So the tone of the thing and the jokes about it in a roast is an expectation that people are going to say very mean, hurtful things about you. And even then, people might be offended, because I remember, was it Anthony Anderson? No, Patrice O'Neill, a comedian, a big comedian. He's one of the, if you listen to comedy a lot, comedians see him as one of the funniest comedians of all time. Many comedians have said Patrice O'Neill is a comedian's comedian. But I believe that he was dealing with... he passed away eventually, rest in peace to him. And I want to say it's diabetes. I'm not sure. But somebody went and make a joke about that. And he, who is one of the most offensive comedians they have by all the reports of other comedians, there's nothing he wouldn't touch. He was clearly offended in that moment. And he was like, boy, my sickness, you'll make fun of that. So all of us have sore spots. No matter how sensitive we are or how thick our skin is, we all have sore spots where if somebody says something about that, what the therapists call it is a trigger. You see, let me try and evolve my language a little bit. The therapist calls them triggers, right? So you have to know your triggers. And the thing about me is, I talking to you, I don't know what's your triggers. I don't know what set you off or set it off. When I actually in a movie, but I don't know when. Let me not make no joke about things now. When I actually in a movie, I'm afraid I get our bellas right now. So the joke was made. She was visibly upset, and Will was laughing. And that man find himself right back on that red carpet. And to be honest with you, I think he get frightened like hell. When he see her face, he was up and he turned and see that face. He said, oh God, oh God, oh God. Yeah, she vexed. What to do? Hit him. And listen, according to the man at MYB the other day, when he was laughing and he see she vexed and he remembered the red carpet, wires start to touch, things start to cross thread in Will brain. That man trip off completely. Walk up on his stage. And you know, watch the video good. Watch when he walk up to him. He walk up to him, he head down, he think he making no eye contact. Chris Rock should have known he was gonna get snuffed. I mean, Chris Rock, we still black, right? we still black. We still black people. Let me be real though. You know when the man get vexed there and he walking up, but Chris Rock was so sure that nothing was going to happen later. Chris Rock keep his hands behind his back. He never put his guard up. He actually leaned towards Will. All that make him feel it fake at the time. You know. When Will started to walk up here, oh no, King Richard, Chris Rock's still in character. And that man take that bellas, that man say, wow. No, I feel Will's still in some trouble. To be honest with you, home there, because you do something about it, which is a step up. But you hit the man, you walk up to him, the man never put up, he got the pushy face towards you and he hit him a slap. And he could still stand up there and say, wow, you ain't knocked this man out. You know what I mean? So she must still have him under pressure. So I just want to say that anybody who see Will and Jada anywhere after this, leave them alone, because that man, his next move is AK-47, because he clearly can't please this woman. And you can't please her home because she letting it be known she need entanglements, and she have a little young boy who is she son, but she man, and all these kind of weird things. And now you can't please her with the fight because he hit him a open hand slap. Chris Rock able to get up and still talk. He ain't rock the man bells in no kind of way. The man get up, and Chris Rock, even though you all seen all other clips going around on Twitter, the short clip where after Chris Rock song a little bit and he say, I'm here to present a documentary. I mean an Oscar for a documentary. He was a little confused, but I think he was just in shock. Because you remember his reaction was basically, dude, it was a G.I. Jane joke. I think Chris was more in shock. Not that he slapped, but that, wait, now you're really upset about this? That little light thing? In other words, there's so much more that we could joke and say about you that I wouldn't say and wouldn't embarrass you like that, but this way upset about, leading me to believe that I don't know if Chris Rock would have known that this woman went through what she went through and was feeling the way she was feeling about her medical condition, or even have a medical condition. Maybe Chris Rock thought she just take a shave, but we go wait till here because we ain't hear nothing from Chris Rock yet. But boy, that man take that bellas and then turn he back. And I saying, but Chris Rock, we need to revoke your black card. You can't have no black card again. Chris Rock is now the number one white comedian of all time. Salute to Chris Rock. Chris Rock is white. You know my white name already? We put in you. Because how do you not, at that point when he turned wrong and walk out, how you going to run up and jump kick that man in the back? What, me, I don't slippery shoes like Johnny Bravo? What's going on with you? Everybody know. Number one, if you, and Pablo always used to tell me this too. Now, you had to listen to this for a second, right? I am not a fighter. I afraid confrontation. I don't like these kind of things. I try to keep calm. And I do feel, I mean, I talk every week here for an hour and something. I could talk my way out of any situation, whether I'm right, wrong, or indifferent. I don't want to fight nobody. I don't want to put no hands on nobody. And I might be more like Chris Rock, right? If you slap me, I'm more than likely I feel I go eat that, to be honest. Once the situation non-threatening, if you slap me and you walk off, I go eat that. If it's non-threatening, then we go out to fight, right? I go out to fight my way out of this thing. I really don't want to have to do that. A little bit like Will Smith too, because if you slap my wife or my son, my mother and them kind of thing, we go and fight. Wires going to start to touch and things go cross-thread, just like Will Smith. I will be in trouble. At that point in time, I will be in trouble. I'm going to leave it at that, right? I don't even want to call them thing on myself. But when you see somebody take a bellas like that in a public setting, you embarrass you and shock you, wondering where it is going, and the man put hands on you physically, I wonder what kind of restraint that man having him not to run up and jump kick that man in the back and let it be known. Because like I telling you, this is what Pablo used to tell me. Pablo say, boy, when you're fighting people, you have to knock them out. He say this kind of slap you like that people slap, and you when you slap him now, you know we have to fight whole night and we could get beat up now. Because you get a chance and you already drop on the man and you hit him a slap. This is how he used to analyze things in the hood, right? Don't worry about it. If he was never in the hood, you ain't going to understand. But in the hood, he has analyzed these things after they happen. So he's like, boy, don't be slapping nobody. When you slap a man, it's a big embarrassment and people go ball and it's make noise, it's song good. But you have to knock people out because when you slap that man, he get back up. No, any number could play. And Chris Rock, salute to Chris Rock for the amount of restraint that man showed, because he come and he talk about it, and he also went on to present the award. But going forward, Chris Rock is officially white. Welcome to the world of whiteness, Chris Rock. He's a white boy. You all your hood cred gone. But I think I was grateful that it went to, because when you see Will Smith do something like that, I wonder what. I mean, yeah, he clearly trip off, right? But if he had hit him and he knock out Cole on the ground there, what then? What would be the situation at that point? You there nominated for the #1 award for a male actor, probably in acting on a whole, but certainly on the night, and you do something like that, and the man knock out on the stage. Suppose he dead, like you get extreme, you hit him and what you putting hands on people for? You just don't put hands on nobody. It's not worth it. I'm not saying that the joke wasn't offensive. It was a stupid joke, if you ask me, beneath somebody like Chris Rock. But you could address it. You could go and talk to him backstage. You could maybe you could even fight him. You know what I mean? You could challenge him to say, hey, listen, we gotta fight if you talk about my wife again. Or maybe he say that behind closed doors and he tell him on site. You know what Yankee like to say on site. But at the end of the day, it's words. I hear them talking about this on the same Joe Budden podcast the other day too, where New Yorkers, this guy offended when they say like, suck my dick, man. New Yorkers get offended by that. And apparently, when you say that, Frank standing, apparently they call it, when you say that to somebody, you had to be prepared to get hit. But I was glad that Joe Budden have a more mature person on the podcast now, a fellow named Ish. Salute to Ish and Ice on Joe Budden podcast. Ish have a more mature thing, and he was basically saying, well, we had to get past that too. We can't have a situation where anybody thing and you could just fight people. We have too much to lose as people. You have a family. Suppose you go to jail. This is common assault. You just walk up and hit a man in front of everybody, all the cameras there. And salute to Chris Rock because Chris Rock show a lot of restraint. Up to this morning, I see in the LAPD saying they're aware of the incident, but the person involved has not pressed charges. That is a lot of restraint because, number one, if it was me, again, I feel I have some Chris Rock in there, but in the moment when I hear, because it's not the slapping, it's just like Trinise is never the horn, it's the echo. Because if he get his slap, and maybe you're in a room full of white people, that's why this happened, right? Because when everybody say he hits him, people in shower going on, everybody say, oh. In Trinidad, what they would they say? Everybody say, oh good. You see that, oh good? I was rushing him and jump kicking him in the back, and then we brawling like two big rich fools on our Grammy stage. I didn't even want to get into the black versus white thing now, because like they have a white man somewhere right now, right? Two white men talking right now, and one telling the next one, you see, you like to talk about equality and all this kind of thing. I tell you this, still nigga, look how they get. No matter how much money you give them, they want to slap one another in their face and say, don't give them no award. This is why we never used to award them for nothing. If we uninvite these people going forward. And it's so strange coming from Jada Pinkett Smith, who was calling on the same Chris Rock to boycott the hosting of the Academy Awards. I can't remember if that one was, I think it was Oscars too. She was saying Chris Rock should boycott it because they don't have enough black representation and black winners. Many black actors and actresses and many black musicians always talk about Academy Awards like Grammys and Oscars and the Tonys and whatever the next one name, Emmys and those things. How they put you in as a nominee, put you to sit down in the front seat. Beyonce and Jay-Z said they don't go for this reason. They put you there to sell the show. In other words, the show become one of the most popular shows in the world and keep the esteem of the award, only to give it to somebody else and, have a camera on you through your disappointments and shine a light on your disappointment. So Jada Pinkett Smith had asked Chris Rock to boycott the Oscars. Don't host it, because we're not getting enough black representation. Now, Chris Rock did make a joke in that same one saying, Jada Smith calling me to boycott the thing. And he said, she would have never be invited. You can't boycott nothing that you wasn't coming to anyway. The last movie was old. You never make nothing. But again, it's jokes. If you want to say that he shouldn't say that and black people should never joke about other black people, or people should never joke about medical conditions, or we should never, that is your stance. I don't think so. I do say that again. When you're offended, nobody can tell you where's your trigger point or where you're offended by. And I'm sure Chris Rock would if you say something and it's offensive and thing, I would want to think he would probably just apologize. So we'll pull him square and say, Chris, what's the scene with you? You're making... I tell people this all the time. Like, if you're making joke, I'm a partner who always like to make some kind of bad skylark when my wife are wrong. I don't like it. So I'll pull him one side and I say, hey, what's going on, bro? You're making the block hot for me. You're making home hard for me because you're making all kind of... Every time I wrong my wife, you want to bring up her ex or this or who do that and who went there. And one time, I call them no names, but time I sit down with my wife, girlfriend at the time. We went and watched some football. And an ex-employee of mine walked into the place where we was buying some wings, right? And me, I see her and think I just there. And eventually I see her and I say, hey, how you going? You all right? No, the girl is a little girl with forms. There's a picture of IG body before IG, right? And so when she walked in and I say, hey, how you going? Now, the backstory to that is she used to work with us and I had I'd sent something for her to do, not as an employee, but as a project. And she was real sticking on the project and I couldn't get back the thing in time for the client. No, of course, nobody else don't know this story but me, right? Stacey don't know that story. I'm a partner, I know the story. And when she walking in the place now, this man get up from his seat and point at the girl and point at my wife and say, you comfortable with this man talking to this girl? And I say to myself, but what kind of put in place thing is this? What were you trying to do? You trying to make my home hard out? Because then when I reach home now, my wife vexed and she think, why you would say something like that? No, again, I'm a reasonable woman, you know what I mean? So when I tell her, I say, but girl, this was the situation. And then she said, oh, because she said, I find it strange because when she walk in and she see both of us, she kind of didn't want to walk in and like she was heading back out until you call her and them kind of things. So all these things look away. You know what I mean? But the point I'm making is if you say, if me and you good and you saying something that making me uncomfortable or making things hard for me, I come in and tell you, my boy, let me do that now. because that point me in place, you're making the block hard, you're making it home hard. Don't do me that. I wouldn't do you that. You know what I mean? When people wife are wrong, I only talk about the weather. You know? As your wife reach, I say, oh, this place hot. Ooh, you see my rain. Ooh, don't support that maker. You don't want nobody going through home, which is where Chris Rock find himself in that situation. You come and talk about something, the woman under pressure. Will is probably the one. I want to read a few tweets from the great Nicki Minaj. I tell you, Trinidadians are the answers for everything, you know, because Nicki put this thing in a way that I couldn't put it better myself from the standpoint of what a woman would be going through. And we had to remember that when a man turn around and see that kind of disappointment in your wife's face, especially when you're afraid your wife badly and you're probably getting some catastrophe at home, you have a problem. So this is from Nicki. This is from Hollywood Unlocked. Well, it's her Twitter, and Hollywood Unlocked posted, right? She said, I love Chris Rock. I don't think he would have made that joke had he known that Jada recently shared. But between him and the whole team at the Oscars, you mean to tell me not one of you all heard this woman just share her heartbreaking story? Here's the thing. This is such an amazing, eye-opening example of it. The husband gets a front row seat to his wife's pain. He's the one consoling her, drying her tears behind closed doors when the cameras go off. Social media has made people feel that these husbands won't ever run into them in real life. You just got to witness in real time what happens in a man's soul when he looks over to the woman he loves and sees her holding back tears from a little joke, quote-unquote little joke, at her expense. This is what any and every real man feels in that instant. While you're seeing the joke, he's seeing her pain. You say, imagine what it must feel like to be losing your hair to the point where you have to shave it bald. You think that's an easy thing for anyone to deal with? Actually, I can relate to this. I know exactly what it feels like to be losing your hair until the point where you have to shave it bald. But I take it as, it's very, very different for me, right? You think, you don't think she cried about that many times? 2022, you're going to have to see these men about these jokes he made about their wives. I don't know when Nicki Minaj become a Zen master like Sadhguru, but of late, she had a recent interview I watched with Joe Budden. It was so measured and the way she talked. People, but I guess when you make churn, all kind of things change in your life when you make churn, you know. So she's a whole different person because think about it. Nicki Minaj, my money might be on Nicki Minaj to slap somebody in the face at a award show. Well, I wonder if I were wrong because Nicki Minaj's husband is one of them people who are willing to put some hands on you if that is the case. Now again, that joke was offensive. It was all those things, but and what Nicki said is, especially for a woman, it perfectly describes what a man feels when your wife is threatened. I don't think that's something that a woman could very easily understand. So I'll try to explain to you. When you sit down with your wife, your wife home, a lot of your wife insecurities, she know yours. And there's your partner, right? Let me say your partner. You know the insecurities, only living together, only working through situations. And one of the hardest things, man is do all kind of thing in life, but it's a no man who comforts, no real man who like to comfortable seeing their wife cry. When you see a mother crying, them things are very, very hurtful to a man. And I'm talking about primal hurtful, where you could do something that could cause you to lose your life or somebody else to lose their life. When you see the woman in your life or the woman in your life crying like that. Let me go back to a simple thing that used to happen in boys' schools. You see mother talk? We used to have mother talk in school. A man tell you about your mother. Them things is fight immediately from the time you say, I used to trip when it's people tell me about my grandmother. Why is touching? Cross-threading. We're going to fight immediately. No, some of them fight is lost. And this way you have to be careful with your wife because when you're trying to defend your wife and the way of defending her is to go and hit somebody at bellows, you cannot cater for what that person's reaction is. And if that person hits you a couple high fall and you get damaged bad and you get beat up, now your wife crying, and you crying, and everybody crying, and then August getting back inside because August ain't crying. So I just find the whole situation was hard. I salute Chris Rock for the amount of restraint that he showed. Because I was fighting or calling the police. One out of the two. I probably wouldn't have fight, but I was going to call the police. I was going to press charges. I was going to sue Will Smith for everything he had. And I was going to make sure that this remained a front page story. Because unlike the days of mother talk and so on, we're not in school no more. We're big men. We're 50-something years old, Will. You can't be putting hands on people. Nicki Minaj is right. In that moment, that is exactly how you feel. when we go in therapy mode again, how you feel and how you act. There's a space between those two things called reason. You have to try to figure out what's the best way to handle the situation. Now again, I'm saying that wires start to touch because it's two bad situations the man get put in. So the point where Chris Rock did a great job. And let me tell you how bad it was, that moment happened. Number one, Will Smith going there as a person who revered in all communities, but particularly the black community, for his work coming from a rapper to Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and acting in different movies as a little, supporting actor to be in Hitchcock. Chris Rock would have lost his life if he went in Hitchcock mode. He dead. Everybody want to see Will Smith win that Oscar. Just this week, we were hearing Samuel L. Jackson receiving a Lifetime Achievement Award for being I think they said that there's no actor who has grossed as much money in movies over a certain amount of movies as he has, making him a legend, but he never win an Oscar. So the very thing that Jada Pinkett was protesting for, asking people to protest for, I'm not saying that the Oscars get black, right? But they're saying it's the blackest Oscar ever. I don't know if it'll ever be blackest. I don't know. It should be merit, right? But we starting to make some headway and seeing where, okay, we finally getting the recognition that we deserve and we've worked very, very hard for all these years. The award that Chris Rock was there to present was an award to Questlove for a documentary called Summer of Soul. And it was about Harlem. Chris Rock went on after that slap to go into the presentation of the award, why it is important, why that documentary was important. Questlove came and received the award, tearing up, talking about his mother and father, wishing they were able to see it or wishing he was taken there. And the words that he used was that the documentary was important to him because marginal people in Harlem needed to heal from their pain. So this is the moment that Will Smith take and turn into a circus. And I'm saying Will Smith take because a comedian is going to make jokes. A comedian going to make inappropriate jokes. And should he have made that joke? No, I want to be clear on that. He shouldn't have said that. And especially when you listen to Black America, I heard DJ Envy talk about this a lot. Black American celebrities tend to have a code saying that wives off limits. You could make joke about me, don't make joke about my wife. You know what I mean? And the other fella, Trinidad, we find we way into everything. Wherever it have, we going to be a part of that. Because coincidentally, just last week, it had a fella in Trinidad right here who put this so eloquently. Hear this man,
Not my wife, big man.
Hey, man.
Not the wifey.
Disrespect me. Not my wife, big man.
Let me don't laugh. But the man, several people holding him back while he dealing with this. Disrespect me, not my wife. So Black Hollywood and DJ Envy, I remember him having Jesus and Mero on the show, and they had said something about his wife being there for the money, and he went off on them, and you know what I mean? But Envy walk off the interview. He let be known that he don't want nobody talking about his wife and saying his wife off limits and all that. And I mean, that is, I find it was poorly handled. It's like, okay, you could calm down, you could talk about it and stuff. And they since moved on past that, and everybody good. But Envy and walk over there and try to hit Mero or Bellas. You know what I mean? I think it's a big difference. Also, you have to remember that when you say wives, they have some wives who are celebrities and who in entertainment, and some wives that not. Jada Pinkett Smith is an entertainer. She's an actress or actor. And she out in the public space. She's also a podcaster or a variety show host or what we want to call Red Table Talk. Wherever she is, you're in the public domain. So it's not. I don't know if those rules apply because we make joke about Nicki Minaj, we make joke about Cardi B, we make joke about a lot of people. So should he have made the joke? No. Was the joke offensive? I think it was, especially having heard Jada pour out about this and how hard it is for her to deal with. To be put on a public space like that and embarrassed. Jay-Z and Beyonce say they bring them to the awards to embarrass them. You put me there and while I disappointed, you flash the camera to me. That's what happened to Will, as Nikki succinctly put it. She say, I have a front row seat to my wife's embarrassment. When I home dealing with her, I wiping away the tears, I dealing with all the issues. And now you bring me in public where we dress up nice. And I have a front row seat to embarrassment again. So that shouldn't happen. But Will Smith really went way overboard by walking up there and hitting this man. And to be honest with you, I find it very, very surprising the amount of people who defending this. So Denzel Washington, Bradley Cooper, all of them had to hush this man, this big old 50-year-old man had to hush him. All right, okay, all right, jam. All right, okay, all right, don't hit nobody, right, boo-boo? Don't hit nobody, baby. All right, put your patchy, you want sweetie? You want... Them had to come and hush he during the break when he said, I hope somebody was hushing Chris Rock because that man needed, back in the days in comprehensive, only remember when girls used to put Vaseline on their face before they fight. Willing him give the man a chance to Vaseline down so he ain't scratch up his face. This man is a public entertainer going on tour just now. So Will Smith being consoled by people, and I think more so, I joking about the console part, but more so to calm him down, to say, listen, it was bad, he shouldn't have said that, I understand how you feel, the publicists come and talk to him and all that, but people out there defending him. I tell all the women don't like each other, I tell all the a few episodes, look, all the women who listen to this, women don't like one another, and I want to say to women, because I understand some women's points of view, because Jada in that moment unnecessarily and unfairly embarrassed for no reason, and it's different with men and women. When men lie on the block, we say the worst set of things about one another, but I know some men well. When the woman on the block, them quiet like a mouse, because I explain that. We feel offended. You get more on edge when people singing your woman and them kind of thing. I remember a time I shooting pool. It had a place named Ascot in St. James. If you remember where Red Edge is now upstairs, they had a place named Ascot. And I shoot in my little pool and thing. I talk about a fella I know every day he shoots in pool and every day I did shoot in pool with them. I know this man. Me and he no friend, but we know one another. We laughing and talk about all kind of thing. And I am the king of bad skylark and bad joke. So he been down play shooting thing and jump up. God boy, I was to go and play the playway boy. He said my girl's sick boy, I was to go and play 10. But 10 in playway is monkey. So I know with my outer type self, I say, what happened? Your girl look like a monkey. Yo. Boy, that man look like a beast. That man look like Will Smith. He say, yo, I'm going to take this pool ball and bust open your face. Oh. Well, here now, Isaac King are trying to back out of thing. I say, I would like to apologize, Professor. I said, I'm very, very sorry. I didn't mean anything. Whatever I had to say to not get her bust face or not to get her Will Smith bellas, I saying it. But in that moment, I see how angry that man gets. So I think Denzel and them came across to really hush him and get him calm down because you tripping off. Suppose somebody else come and, well, I guess nobody else ain't going to say nothing about that. Again, everybody done with that situation. But then come the speech. I tell you, we're unpacking this and this looking like it's the whole podcast could be one topic. I do not understand why the Academy Awards did not immediately ask Will Smith to leave his seat and leave the compound. These are the Academy Award people. Them is the people who behind the most amount of wokeness. I cannot understand this generation of people. I try. I can't understand them because this is the generation that is the most woke. I had to know if you are he, she, they, them, or we before I talk to you. And if I say the word thing, Adele went and say, I love being a woman. They want to half kill Adele. This same Academy. Dave Chappelle going and say thing about trans people. The Academy supporting moves to this is the same people, this woke generation, not the Academy, but this woke generation on the whole supporting these things. And it's the most non-violent and politically correct. But a man could walk up on a stage, hit a man a slap for something he said, turn around and walk back to his seat, and the show goes on. The thing continue. I want to make this a racist year, but it's not a racist year already because black people show out on the night when we were there to be celebrated. But if Will Smith had walked up on stage and slapped Larry David, legendary Larry David, who known for bad joke and bad skylark, or hit Seinfeld bellas, he would have been arrested in that event. But no, again, when he hit Chris Rock that slap, the whole world feel it. So I feel it for the people in the background in the Academy too, because why start to touch for them and them start to cross thread too, because them know what to do in that moment. Because keep in mind that they probably know at that point that Will Smith is going to win the award for King Richard. So do we arrest the man who we here to award, and what does that cause for the show? Do we stop the show? Chris Rock, all right. And I want to believe Chris Rock had plenty to do that. Chris Rock showed plenty of restraint in it. I feel Chris Rock tell them, boy, forget. You know what I mean? It was a bad joke thing. I'll talk to Will. I'll send an apology, whatever. Let's just move on. Let's move the show forward. Questlove has something important to come here and collect and something important to come here and say. And I just want to move forward. Let's not make it more of a spectacle than it is. And you know, we were just celebrating last week. It had to be last week. Let me make sure I get the name right, eh? Because a man is botch people name, and when you see these names too complicated for me, I only know how to pronounce one syllable names. You know, last week, Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson. We were talking about how much restraint she showed when these people talking about her, like if her career is something that she asks for, like she didn't put in the work over the time, and she do this and she do that. Half of the accusations they make, it was proven that her sentencing, they say she was soft on was it pedophilia? There was some issues that they're trying to claim that she's soft on. When they check it, she have the median score of sentencing for all those things, which means they're just singling her out. And a black woman headed to the Supreme Court, becoming a major issue. And we said, you know, she did so well. She's the only composed person with a bunch of white people who, when you see the anger in all of them faces, and she's sitting there very, very composed. And Cory Booker had to go up there and say, must be a Cory to save the day. Cory Booker had to go up there and say, hey, what? You are a legend. You are celebrated. All of us look up to you. Young black girls look up to you. And listen, that was the only moment that she got emotional, a little bit overwhelmed, which was measured even in that moment. But she's a judge, right? She's an actor. And we were celebrating that. I want to celebrate Chris Rock for that amount of restraint, because I'm telling you, they say he in press charges. He must tell them backstage, listen, don't put him out. Don't do anything. Let him sit. Let him collect his award. This moment, bigger than me, it's bigger than Will, it's bigger than that slap. Although it's not much thing bigger than that slap, eh? It's bigger than Jada. Let's just let the show go on. That's my assumption. And when the time comes to give this speech, I find this speech was even more insulting. And even more of an area where Chris Brown, you know, if Chris Brown had do this, people would have a real problem. Remember when he mashed up Good Morning America? It was never the same after that. Or remember when Kanye went to take the mic and say Taylor Swift, Beyonce was supposed to win this? If Kanye, oh God, Ole, thank God it's not Kanye. Salute to Kanye West. Kanye been through enough. If Chris Rock had make a joke about Kim Kardashian, and Kanye walk up there and slap Chris Rock and walk off and sit back down, is a horse of a different color, you know, as you old people say. But as I saw somebody say this on Facebook. I wish I could give credit where it's due, but I can't remember who said it. They say it shows how far, no, Joel Julian is who I see say it shows how far people willing to go to defend people that they like. A big part of it is because we like Will Smith. And Denzel, in his speech, he's talking about King Richard went to fiercely distress. He used to protect his family. He used to fiercely protect his family, and I put in a spot where they say things about me, and I gotta not react. And that man tried to make that speech of triumph as if this was a part or extension of the character of King Richard or him. I believe that is really Will Smith take a lot of pressure over the last few years. Salute to Will Smith too for taking a lot of pressure. And I don't feel that slap was for Chris Rock. I think it's just real frustration bottled up and boiled up and too much years of pretending that you're okay with things. And Chris Rock feel the brunt of that. Poor Chris. I mean, Chris T don't look too, you know what I mean? But Denzel Washington, he said that Denzel Washington, this in his speech, he said, at your highest moments, the devil comes for you. Yeah, I sure pretty much botch up that. But he was trying to say something like that. At the highest moment, he said, be careful, because it's at your highest moments that the devil come for you. And he put that in his speech. I find he say it in a way almost as if Denzel was trying to tell him the devil, Chris Rock was a representation of the devil in that moment. So you're in your highest moment and now they're attacking you. I don't feel that's what that statement mean at all. The devil is within you. So what he's saying is at your highest moment, be careful, because the devil go choke you to try to bring you down. They used to tell you that all the time, you know what I mean? If you do enough Bible studies and you went enough Sunday school and church and you grew up, they will tell you, listen, the devil is be choking you. When you're doing good, the devil looking to bring you down. But it's not nobody else trying to bring you down, Will. It's you who trying to bring down yourself. And I think you bring down yourself, you bring down a huge moment for yourself. You had one of the biggest moments of your career and you make it about a bad joke and a worse reaction. You know what I mean? And you make it bad for people like Questlove, for people like Samuel L. Jackson, all the people in attendance. Look how uncomfortable everybody was looking. I remember I have a partner. I ain't gonna call him my name, right? As a listener to this podcast and so on. That man give me a drop home from Newtown Boys at time. And it's me and him and his little brother in the back seat, right? And while we driving up Marval Road, them they take a drive up Marval Road. And we driving up Marval Road, boy. And I can't remember what the little brother do or say. But that man father turned around and hit that man some bellas. You know, long time when they get licks. Then the next thing with Will, you know, Will is a saps, you know. Will the man wants bellas. You know, it nobody know one bellas. But that man father turned around and started to offload slap. Whap, 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 whap. Like skilly bang. Well, let me tell you something. I get so frightened in that car. Because me ain't do nothing, you know. But I had some slap to get in that moment. I say, oh God, slaps is coming my way. Once we get licks, all we get licks. Of course, that didn't happen, but I was so frightened. And that's how Lupita Nyong'o, I don't know I'm messing up that name, but that's how she looked in the moment. She looked so frightened and shell-shocked, like, what's going on here? And she looked like she was in reaching distance of Will too, so she must be studying, boy, let me not kick the back of this man's chair, or let me make sure I stay away from this man's wife. And now she started to study, boy, I are here, and this woman ball, I wonder if he could trip off again, because that was a neurotic and mental moment. But the surprise is on social media with how much people defending this, defending it as if to say, this is what our husband's supposed to do. I see young Will Smith. What's your name again? Jaden? Jaden saying, that's how we do it. But no, brother, better you don't say that. That's how we do it. This is what so imagine that's what Will, not saying that he's teaching his son like he's talking to his son and telling him that, right? But this is the example he's setting for people so that when you're offended by something or somebody crosses a line, remember that the boundary, let me go back to my girl Neola. The boundary is set by me. I don't know your boundaries. Until you tell me. So these things could be conversed. There's so many more mature ways to handle these types of situations than to walk. At no point when you get up, you walk all the way. You ain't cool down and say, nah, well, don't do this. This is not Corey Shepherd podcast, but talking Will and he come and hit me a slap because me and nobody. This is Chris Rock. I think we forgetting or we losing sight of the fact that Chris Rock is also a legend. In the black community, one of the best comedians of all time. You can't make a top 5 black comedian list without mentioning Chris Rock or considering Chris Rock to be in there. Certainly in the top 10. You know what I mean? No big movie star and thing like Will, but certainly in the comedy space. One of the greatest to ever do it. Would he have done that to Dave Chappelle? Would he have done that to Kevin Hart? Or is it that you have personal issues with Chris Rock? Even if you have personal issues with people, the example we set in can be to walk up to people and hit them. And the amount of women, I tell you, women don't like one another. They like we less, but they don't like one another. And I want to say this to women who are in support of this and who saying that is what a husband is and that is how you defend your wife and thing. And men create this problem, eh? Men are the reason why women saying they glad he defend your wife because it's not too much of we. It's saps. It's not too much of half a man walking around in real man clothes. I remember a video going around the other day with a man from Wassel with the outside woman jacking him up and the wife in the background saying, you just beat me. But look how she beating you. It's a two man walking around like that. It's saps. They cannot defend themselves. They cannot defend their family. They cannot defend their children. They refuse to if they can. But they're bad when they're home. Sometimes they reach home and slap, flick off and kick, black eye, embarrassing the woman or talking to the woman all how and embarrassing, you understand? Or financially withholding from the woman so that she living hand to mouth and you know what I mean? Make sure you have her fully under control. Or everything that you get you're making sure that you in control of where she go, who she answer to, what she thinks. She have to cook, wash and clean the whole day. You ain't doing nothing. Man per woman in this situation because women get so accustomed to being around them half a man. That now when they see a man defend their wife or stand up for their wife or not, even though he do it in an egregious way that was ridiculous and embarrassing, women just looking for one sign that, hey, listen, somebody here to defend us. I talk about this when we talk about how much women get murdered and raped and all kind of things in Trinidad and get robbed. Man snatching bag from woman on Charlotte Street and man stand up watching. I tell you, you see, them situations, when it comes to advantage and things, them things could be the enemy. Let me stop saying that, but I cannot stand by and watch When a man just beating up a woman or snatching a woman bag and running and saying, not me, I buy in that fight. So that's so much a half a man that the woman end up having to cling to this thing. But I want to tell you this, right, ladies? For all the listeners to this podcast who in these situations. You think that you want somebody to do what Will Smith did until you end up with somebody who is doing what Will Smith did. It is not a nice thing. People who respond physically and aggressive and violent to people, that is what they do. It has nothing to do with you and them defending you. People who bottle up things for so long that the only outlet they have is a slap in a public forum in front of billions of people when they dare to be celebrated. That is what they do. And it will be a matter of time before that aggression directed towards you. I would like to quote the famous words of Carrie Bradshaw of Sex and the City. Actually, it's not a quote at all. But there was one episode on Sex and the City from back in the day. Since I'm talking to women and all, it was what Sex and the City. I only remember the episode where Carrie went in a bar and she meet a fellow. And the man, while he talking to her, some man come grabbing her. You know, man, when they're drunk, they want to hold you until your shoulder and pull you to talk and thing. And that man hit that fella right. Bow! And he said, don't come around. Don't be disrespectful. And she felt like a princess, guarded and honored. And you know she be. But then, later on in the episode, you realize that is just a man who just cough down people because he buying a next fight so and a next fight on this side. And then you start to realize, listen, this is not somebody to be around. He is unreasonable. So I don't think it's behavior that we should encourage at all. But salute to Will Smith, salute to Chris Rock, two legends. I really hope that they could move past and make this thing nice, man. Don't make this thing so, you know what I mean? Black people, we have to do better than this and unite and live loving, because these are the kind of real issues that we have to face. Bad skylark and thing, we're supposed to be able to work through and show somebody the error of their ways, or walk away and don't come to these things and, you know what I mean, where you're being embarrassed deliberately and so on. But the things that we have to fight for, I want to play something for you here that I feel should be an issue, where we walk up to somebody and hit them at bellas. Listen to this for me, right?
With my father,
Right.
the Prince of Wales, who said in Barbados last year that the appalling atrocity of slavery forever stains our history. I want to express my profound sorrow. Slavery was abhorrent, and it should never have happened.
Bellas. You understand? This is the voice of Prince William talking in Jamaica last week, because you know what I mean, Jamaica still under the monarchy, I guess. I don't know how them things work. Barbados too, I believe. No, Barbados just become republic, but Jamaica hasn't moved to become republic yet. So Prince William come to visit his subjects and ex-slaves to talk and these kind of things. And what is his wife's name? Kate? I don't know these people, you know. Let me see if Prince of Wales and Barbados last year slavery is. I will remember read what he said, right? I'm taking this from Dominic Kalipasad's Instagram page. Britain's Prince William has condemned slavery as an abhorrent, I'll Google that, and said it should never have happened in a speech in Jamaica on Wednesday night. Speaking at a dinner hosted by the country's Governor General, the Duke of Cambridge echoed remarks made by his father, Prince Charles. Oh, Charles' father. Prince Charles in November, denouncing slavery, but stopped short of apologizing for his family's historic role in the slave trade. I strongly agree with my father that the Prince of... What did he comment go on, boy? He said, I strongly agree with my father... Come on, man. He said, I strongly agree with my father that I strongly agree with my father, the Prince of Wales, who said in Barbados last year that the appalling atrocity of slavery forever stains our history, William said. I want to express my profound sorrow. Slavery was abhorrent and it should never have happened. The Duke's remarks came a day after a group of anti-monarchy protesters gathered in Kingston. Salute to them. Because them was ready to hit some bellas for some good reason. We just hit one another bellas. This is black people issue, you know. We just want to hit one another bellas and then we let these enslavers just walk free. Anyway, to demand an apology from Britain. Some chanted apology now, reparations now, while others carried up posters and placards reading, apologize and let's get current. Let's get rid of the rule of the Queen. A royal engagement on Saturday in Belize was also cancelled amid reports of opposition from local residents. Well, this is why I'm talking about people getting some kind of slap. They might be it virtually or not. At least people slapping the right people somewhere in the streets. Another the Academy Awards for a man making wife joke about your wife. Now, I'm not going to go into a whole long slavery thing, huh? But the idea that we could get the monarchy to apologize, at least through this man, is what I find is a farce, yes, to tell you the truth, because we seem to have reached a crossroads where many countries or entities who were involved in not just starting but perpetuating the slave trade. And let me say slave trade different from slavery, right? Just to take modern day slavery out of the equation. We man have to walk right through, and then you care a little bit of money you get. You have to get some money from the bank to do anything that you want to do in the long run. And then the bank own your things until you pay them back and forever. And when they're done, they take it back. Let me take that part of the slavery out of the equation, right? What Jay-Z and Kanye West had called new slaves. But all of them seem to have reached a crossroad, or a lot of them where, okay, we could guardedly acknowledge that slavery should never have happened and so on. But from the time you go on to say, okay, that means that you regret and you are sorry for the murder and genocide of many people, the division of people, from disconnecting people from their history and their lineage, separating people for your own trade to make sure that there's no revolt. So you put people who are not like-minded from same tribes and so on together, and you cause us to, up to today's date, hate one another so much that we're willing to walk up and slap one another in the face. Or hate one another so much that we're willing to stand up and make a joke about somebody who having a medical condition right in the face there on a night to be celebrated. You're willing to say, okay, well, I had luck there, we should not do that. But from the time I tell you that, listen, okay, this is a good place to be in. Acknowledgement is a good part of it. You know, when you go to them addiction things like Alcoholics Anonymous and all them type of thing, one of the first things they tell is you need to say that I am an alcoholic. So I like that Ole coming out and say that I am a slave owner. I am a wicked, murderous, genocidal person. I like that. That is step one. But folks, it have 12 steps. You can't stop there. If you're making steps, let you make steps. And one of them steps is to start acknowledging that up to today, the effects of that slave trade exist. Because somehow the people who was most involved in slavery, in slavery as a business, slavery as a trade, seem to not want to acknowledge. These are the same people who's be telling you, well, listen, that was 400 years ago. Get up and dust off your pants and move on. Look how many other people have progressed. Asians have progressed. Japanese people come up after Hiroshima. India is one of the technological. All them things I like to tell you about, hey, forget slavery. Well, all right. Now that you acknowledge it, we want to tell you why we cannot forget it. Because there's something called generational memory. That's what the therapists talk about. So past, but generational trauma. Salute to my girl Micah from back in the day. And you know, yeah, I call back Micah a long time and get Micah to come on, you know. But Micah spoke on her podcast about generational trauma. So we dealing with things and insecurities and fears and all those things that pass down from generation to generation that we were never a part of the slave trade or forced labor or house slave versus field slave and them kind of thing. But look at what happened in the Academy Awards this week. All that is part of generational trauma, if you ask me. So all right, we could acknowledge that too, that the effects of it are there today. All right, generational trauma too abstract, right? So let me forget about that one. All you want to talk about that yet? Let me talk about physical things then. Physical things where you cut me off from my lineage, cut me off from all my inheritances. So as let me say I was poor, which I was not. I have a house here. And when I close my eye and Stacy close her eyes, Zachary will have a house. You understand? And if he build a house, then my grandchild go at 2 houses. You understand where I'm coming from? So there's a certain amount of the generational trauma abstract. Well, they have other things that's handed down from generation to generation called wealth. All the things that I leave behind, I can't carry it with me. So I pass them on as whether to be a start in life, whether it's a financial start like money or land or assets like a little car, whatever it might be. Or traditions or heirlooms or customs or practices or ways of behavior, When you cut people off from the generation, you're making them start life back from scratch in all those different ways. When people have to start life from scratch now, when we're going to have the discussion about how you're going to make it right, because you deliberately and consciously partake in something that caused us to be where we are. You caused harm. And in any court you go, when you cause harm, they go tell you what? You have to make the person whole. And this is where the discussion about reparations has come from. The idea behind reparations is making people whole. Because let's assume a generation is what? 30-something years or something like that. Let me just assume a generation is 100 years, right? For simplicity. And it's 400 years of slavery. And about, let me just say we had year 401. That means 4 generations. When you remove the first one from their generation and then the lineage, now people start to be born into slavery, never knowing their homeland, never knowing their ancestors, unable to get any kind of hand-me-down of worth from their family because you just don't have it. I don't have anything. I don't own anything. You own me. So when I born as a slave, I am a slave because my property is like if my dog make puppies. They're my puppies. And that's how these people look at us for many, many, many years. So when I hear them talking about apology and saying, okay, good, right, acknowledgement, step 1. When we're going to have this serious discussion about reparations, because you cut us off from our inheritances, so we don't know what wealth was there for us, what knowledge was there for us. We don't know if my parents were excellent carpenters that they could have given me that knowledge now and I could earn a living. And you were able to do that for 400 years. So while you move ahead, you set us back. All right, that's too abstract too. We don't talk about that. That's too abstract. That's too hard for people to figure out. You know what I mean? White people. You know what I mean? Prince. When Prince and them, they go to school, I don't know. Let me get to simple things. We work for 400 years without getting paid to farm and till arable land that make sugar cane, banana, cotton, whatever the cash crops were of the day. We plant and we only not just plant, we under the worst of conditions. They beat us to plant because we ain't getting a cent. And all it didn't have no them days it didn't have motivational theory. It didn't have Maslow's hierarchy of this and McClellan 2-factor theory and McGregor employee X and employee Y. It didn't have none of them things, right? All they had was the whip. So you whip and you bully and you enslave and you separate and you degrade people to get your cotton cell and your sugar all over the world and your rum made and all those different things. All the things that make up big conglomerates now in terms of the fashion industry, the soft drink industry, the rum and spirits industry. You build that on our backs. All the money you make off of that, you have now and we don't have none. Right? So I don't know how more tangible it could get to say, all right, only make people work 12 hours a day for 400 years without paying them. Pay them the minimum wage for the 400 years. Let me start there. We want to know how to calculate it. Let me start there. Minimum wage. You want to do that? Because if we start with minimum wage, we could start the discussion because after that, we go talk about damages and so on. We go talk about skilled labor, what you were supposed to earn and all that. If you want to go to advance the discussion and you're really sorry, let me talk about sharing the profits from what we created in terms of the wealth that you had. Because if you, let me say, I see Answer McCall record $900 and something million in profit in a pandemic and a recession and thing, right? When you go and look at Answer McCall books, imagine they didn't have to pay no employees to make that money. They would have make about double that at least if they did not have to pay no employees. So, all right, let me use that as a calculation. You see all that money you make without having to pay staff? Let me look at that. You make 900 and something, you make $2 billion and you ain't pay nobody? You, particularly, you was involved in this pass back $1 billion. But that's a discussion that they don't want to have. So when I see that thing about the apology, and I was glad to see in Dominic Kalipasad comments that people pick up on it too. People was like, boy, we don't want to hear your old watered down apology. We don't know why you're in Jamaica. And I don't know why Jamaica is allowed these things, but so we are where we are. And coincidentally, the Birdie and Barney podcast is back up. I know that song is random and it had nothing to do with nothing, but the Birdie and Barney podcast, the first guest that they have on an episode out now is Michael Holden the Great. Great Michael Holden. Real good episode. Great episode by them fellas. They're back on these streets, guys. So hopefully we're back to consistent delivery of the podcast. Because what I like about it and why I feel honored to be a part of that podcast is that I get to play a part in the documenting of legends. I don't think I could have a conversation with sports people in the way that Birdie and Barney could do that. Lasana Liebert and Wayne Shepherd, of course, could do that. And they're not just doing football, they're doing sporting personalities as a whole. And I really, really enjoy the conversation with Michael Holden. But the reason I brought this up is because one of the questions, almost the first question that Lasana asked Holden was, Barbados got the Republic. You know, what do you think about Jamaica still being under the Queen? And it's listening to Michael, I don't want to talk too much about it. You should go and listen to that. Anybody who, if you're interested in why I just talk about, listen to it. Because Michael Holden, if you don't know, is whispering death, one of the greatest fast bowlers we have, one of the most dangerous fast bowlers we ever had, certainly. And also one of the greatest commentators in the game. And has toured the world with everywhere doing commentary for cricket. And a distinct and I want to say like regal voice in the world of cricket. And last year, before he retired, I remember playing a clip here of him talking about racism in the sport. And to me, his retirement was sudden. And, you just feel like people like them will be around forever. And that voice, so iconic. He never really played a part of T20, which is a question that Birdie and they asked him in the interview as well, why he's so against T20 cricket. So definitely tune into it so you could hear that. But within that last year, talking about his parents and what they had to endure with slavery and acts of, sorry, not slavery. His parents and what they had to endure with racism. And his acts, racism that was, that he would have endured over his time, both as a cricketer and as a commentator. He was moved to tears twice in those interviews on the BBC. Listen, you had to find that and listen to that. I believe I played the audio from it back then, so I don't want to play it again. I don't want to take the chance, but it was really, really moving. So seeing him talking about those things openly and his views on some of these very things that I spoke about in terms of what colonial life has done to, children upcoming in Jamaica, including him, and by the extension, the Caribbean and anywhere black people are. Real interesting interview. So salute to Birdie and Barney for being back on these streets. And listen, we kind of stumble into sports, but Augustus Mervyn Eve is the greatest coach Trinidad and Tobago has ever had. Well, I feel like he's the place. 9-0 against Barbados. No, sorry for Latapy. Angus and Latapy was kind of like Will Smith and Chris Rock. You love both of them, and you hate to see something happen like that to either of them, you know what I mean? Oh, God, but Latapy is Barbados coach, and Angus, I find Angus should have stopped around 4 or 5. You know what I mean? Make it a football score still. And, Angus Eve so wicked. When they do the post-match interview, that man say, I feel we should have scored more. We had chances and we was little. I was like, Angus, what happened? You're trying to kill it, you're trying to bury him. Well, Latapy's we friend. We love Latas, you can't do this. Even in the Premier League and thing, you see men has come off the gas. You can't embarrass the next coach like that. 9-0. 2 man score a hat-trick in the game. A man score a hat-trick in the first half. And next man score a hat-trick in the second half. I think it was Levi Garcia who scored the second half hat-trick. I was glad to see him. Once Levi Garcia in the goal, we're in a better place. And just the other day, I was saying how hard it is to watch World Cup qualifying or Trinidad football or anything, because we're looking at these countries play for the World Cup while we get knockouts. Although, good Italy getting knocked out by Macedonia over the weekend too. This weekend was a lot of slap sharing this weekend. There's a lot of slaps. But that man went and bring on 9-0. The thing I like about it, outside of the embarrassment and throttling up too much in it's a friendly game. You can't do the man that. But what I like is that we were at a point, there was one point in Trinidad football history when you see small side. I don't knock on Barbados at all. But when you see we pick up a little small side. And when I say small side, I mean like outside of the USA, Mexico, Costa Rica, and now Canada, who just beating up people. I don't know what's going on in Canada. But Canada on top the standings now, if you didn't know, for the qualifying for the World Cup, on top of Mexico and USA. When we find island sides and our peers, you see St. Vincent thing 9-9. St. Vincent Small, you will bunks up like Turks and Caicos. And I have a song to play for some people in Turks and Caicos before I leave here. But them good for 9. It's only a 9 people in the country, so a goal man, you know what I mean? We used to dominate these teams. And all of a sudden, all the teams have advanced, which is good for regional football. But we in a point now, we struggling. We can't beat Bermuda. You know what I mean? Puerto Rico licking me out of the World Cup and things. I didn't like that. So I'm glad to see we in a space where we dominated. Now, what I will say is this is a little 3-match series, right? Where Trinidad play Barbados. We beat them 9-0. Then Barbados play Guyana. And Guyana beat Barbados 5-0 too. And that is coached by Jamal Shabazz, the great Shabazz coach in Guyana. I don't know if Shabazz and Angus Eve have problems with Latapy, so they decide they're going to embarrass it. I didn't like that part too much. They could have come together and say, well, here what? No, nothing more than 3 or 4. You know what I mean? They should have make a little agreement. So Shabazz is now throwing words for Angus, saying, listen, anytime you come around, we beating you bad, basically, right? Let me see if I can find a piece of a Shabazz post-match interview. This is from TTFA YouTube, right?
This game coming up, and I'm saying this with a special emphasis for Wyatt fans. Some of my friends in Wyatt and some of my enemies in Wyatt. I let Angus, if Angus name Angus Eve, let him put down the ball and bring it out at the back Tuesday, and you see where the old people used to say where barley grow and when to reap it. You see that.
So Shabazz sending threats. No, Shabazz is not the kind of man who, when Shabazz sends threats, the nation should be worried a little bit. But we passed that, right? We passed that. But salute to Michael Lasano, Wired apparently. Lasano, everybody's be shooting at you behind closed doors. Always be going on, everybody. The man says specifically Wired fans. So the gauntlet is set. Shabazz say, we playing Guyana on Tuesday. So it was Trinidad play Barbados, Barbados play Guyana, and Trinidad play Guyana as the last game. So we win 9-0. Shabazz and them only win 5-0. So my little math's telling me we supposed to beat Guyana by at least 4 goals. But football don't go so. And Shabazz is basically telling them, listen, if you come by me and you play open football like that, I'm going to open you up. If your name man, come outside. If your name man, come outside. So that is the deal. And the thing about it is, as a man like to go football. West Indies, I salute West Indies. Only when I test series and thing, I want to give West Indies the credit where it's due. They did very well. Salute Jonathan De Silva, I think it is, making 100. Salute everybody on West Indies team. According to the West Indies fans, the diehards, the Kern Hineses and the Ken Corbys of this world and the George Charleses, they say they turn a corner and they think, I'm not watching no West Indies cricket until they almost win. Like if there are runs they make off 100 balls, I go turn on the TV because I can't remember who it is say West Indies could break a dog heart. So I'm not fully back on West Indies, but once they're winning, that's a good sign, and I hope they stay on that winning run. And then the next time as they win here, they ain't come out and make 40-something runs in our first innings again like we like to do. I don't know how we lose it so fast. But where TTFA is concerned, or Trinidad football, Soca Warriors, they still have me. They have me an abusive relationship, just like Chris Rock, Will Smith, and all West Indies fans. It's abusive. Because you go out and you support them, and then they do things like what we do the other day and in Dominican Republic and get knocked out. But Fenwick gone, right? So hopefully there's not the situation anymore. But once it's a football in the stadium, I like to go. So I tell my son, I say, what happened? Football in the stadium, boy, let me go down. Because the last time we went together, we had beat USA and knocked them out of the World Cup. And salute to the Soca Warriors. So even though we had no chance to qualify, I don't really miss games in the stadium. I don't care if it's friendly or what. And I do a better job too, because I didn't even realize that it had women's football going on. Once Trinidad playing, I don't care which team it is, I go in the stadium. But I had a hell of a day on Friday last week. Because certain people traveled last year and they say, boy, we're going back to the old time days and we're going to unpack a barrel. I didn't know people still do this, right? Where she say they got a barrel and they fill a barrel and they buy all kind of thing and they put in a barrel. Now, when I hear that, I say, all right, well, I mean, if you're shopping and you have things to get for the house and that kind of thing, then a barrel might be the best thing, because it makes sense. You're trying to pack everything in a suitcase, air fryer and all kind of thing. Don't make sense if you're trying to pack all them things in a suitcase and you're paying a set of overweight and this and that. And then you have a whole uncomfortable trip coming back to figure them things out. So I say, all right, well, you work it out, well, you get a packer and all, you pack a barrel and all them things. Well, I thought that when you go in your shop and you order, what you order a barrel, let it bring it home by you. You get the barrel and you pack it, and then you call the packer to bring it back. And then the packer can take it and you come down here. I thought when it reached Trinidad and Tobago, you go in and see about your barrel. Salute womankind, you know. When the barrel reached, I get a kind of look just like how Jada watch Will. And I say, wait, is I have to go and clear the barrel? how I get involved? I totally do all the things. So, Papa, I end up having to go and clear the barrel. I missed the first date because they call and tell me what day it is, and I had to go down on the port and blah, 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 and shed 10 and all this kind of thing. Me know nothing more this. But I call back, I say, listen, I missed the date. There's the time I could come. They tell me a new day I went down. Now, I leave home must be after 5 the morning, because the park and opening 7 o'clock down there. And you know, this traffic to go from Chaguanas to town not nice, especially when you make an announcement about place opening back up. I know anybody who was working from home, they work from the office Friday because we're looking for after work live on a Friday evening. So I going up there early the morning. First to begin, I went to the wrong La Parcan because La Parcan have an office in what I know when you go down Dock Road, they buy Hyatt. And I went there, I done struggle to get a park. Listen, that's a nice place to be in the morning. Though. If you like people watching, go down by the dock early in the morning. The real bit buzzing with activity and things selling like a little market inside. The people coming to work, containers starting to move with some action down there. I like that vibe. So I walk in there, I walk in the park and office, nobody in there. The place looking scarce. I expecting to see plenty of people there because barrel, I mean, people go bring in barrel, right? The places I go strong. I walk in the office, nobody saying no. I kind of knock a glass and I call. I realize somebody wasn't like in a kitchen making tea or something. I tell them, I come to clear the barrel. She say, they send you here? I say, yeah, well, they tell me the pack. And she said, no, it's shed 10. Now, in my mind, when they say shed 10, I'm in the wrong place and I walk. Boy, you know where shed 10 is? Quite down by John D. So I in the whole wrong building. I don't walk back, this, give up the park I fight for so long in the morning, drive over to John D now. Now, they're looking more like it, right? Because when I reach there, I have a window in front of the park and I saw the people sit down and things. So I pay the man. Apparently, you have to pay the park and for shipping or bringing your thing, right? So that's the first payment I make. And they give me some documents. Now, it's a 9 o'clock appointment, but I want to reach for 7 o'clock because I must have there plenty of people on the line. The last time I went on the port in Point Lisas, I went there must be after 4 the morning and I was like the 10th person in line. And the place opened at 8 o'clock, yeah? So I pay the park and thing. I was happy and surprised that at 9 p.m. sharp, the port security came out and they say, all right, all the people here for a 9 o'clock appointment. I said, well, I get through in life. We leaving here fast. Look how I get my barrel and go one time. No, it's still Trinidad, right? So when she say 9 o'clock appointment, everybody walk up to the door and she say, who come first? I was like, so wait, it's not no number system or nothing. It's just an honor system. Who come? So I had to remember who. You remember a long time when you were playing cricket, you used to say, I see you bat. So I'm batting before you next. Listen, we don't have no systems for these things. All right, okay. So we work out among one another. Who come first? And then there's a little argument because I see you here and I ain't see you. I say, well, they put me in the line wherever all they want. Me don't want a confrontation. So they put me in the line among some partner from St. James, good old Damien from St. James, little guy Damien. And I was glad to see him too because, you know, we get to catch up and talk while we waiting and them kind of thing. It make the wait a little easier. So we sit down in there now. Of course, your social distance and all that still, although it have no more COVID, but we social distance and, you know the drill. And you're waiting for your name to call. So first batch of names call, but no, it take about 45 minutes for the first batch of names to call. So we sit down from 9 till about 9:45 now. Your boy name in the first batch, I say nice. I was about the 5th in line. I say beautiful, system working. When I reach up there, they tell me the rent now. This is to pay Port Authority. So I done pay the park and it's time to pay Port Authority now. Now, you remember, there's always tell you walk with cash in these places because people don't take links. But I see a link sign on the glass. I say, what? We advancing? I had to stop bad talking my country, but we making strides. We getting better. And when I pay the Port Authority with the rent and the this and the that, I had the cash, so I pay in cash. They sent me back in the same seat I was just saying no. So I said, all right, well, this is a little weird. I thought we was moving forward. I said, well, all right, okay. They say, hold on for your name. So I see a sign mark examination area. And if I remember right from barrel and them things, you had to empty out your barrel. And I never bring in a barrel before, but I see people do it when I was on the port. So you had to empty out your barrel and the customs person had to inspect and all that. So I sit down and next, I didn't want to lie to you, boy, about the next half hour. And then they start to call names. Again, my name called in the first batch. Now, my name called before people who I see in front of me in the 9 o'clock line. But, hey, we move in. You know what I mean? They don't call my name if they didn't call yours. I'm real sorry for you, but I out. And so I go in the back, they tell me what to do and think I empty out the barrel. The fella, the porter showing me which part to empty it up to. Don't empty the whole barrel and then you can't pack it back. So I empty it out and think customs when I come. He said, 3 something. I said, what I get through in life? Well, I done with her personal. At this moment in my mind, I'm not using no skybox no more. I could wait for my things. You got a barrel full of things costing 300. And if you order from any one of them any from Amazon or something, any one of them skybox companies bring it in. When last you paid 3 something in total, that I'm a fees. So let me get the whole thing. The payment to Latapy was about 3 something. I didn't know what Stacy and them pay over there. The port was about 200, but keep in mind, I leave my thing about 3-4 days extra because I missed the day. So all that is rent. I think the basic rent is $50. And then I pay 3 something again. So let me say, call that 800 and all, right? Just if you call it, or 900 or 1,000. A whole barrel full of items. And when I tell you shop, they did shop. Come up to that. You're not paying that with the airports and them. No, this is sea freight. I don't go and order no barrel by air and then I tell you how cheap it is and them kind of thing. This was sea freight, so it take long, but everything come. So when I done with that now, I say, well, look at my thing. This thing's smooth. Although it's a couple hours now there. It's about 11:15. I say, but wait, I could get out of here by 12 o'clock because I studying the football in the stadium at that point. And of course, I can't go on the port with Zachary. So I had to finish do what I'm doing here. Go back to Shagonas, catch some old man sleep from the old sleep I lost the night before. And then head down in the stadium. I sit down there, I start to see people name calling to go up to the customs window to pay. Well, I realize now when you reach by the customs window, that's to pay the 3 something. That is the ones who ain't taking no links and no credit card and no check or whatever. You have to pay in cash. So I sit down and I see names calling now. I see people who now reach now, them name calling before mine. So I can't make no fuss because I was now glad my name called before them. So them calling now and them people think. And I see they walk to the back of the room, security tell them, all right, go and get your car, come and get your goods, you'll check off. I said, nice, this process smooth. Only for 15 minutes to pass and it's 11 o'clock. My name ain't called yet. And an announcement come. The Port Authority will be going on lunch now from 11 to 12 p.m. So I say, wait, now we still doing, I couldn't believe that we still in these backward times. Port Authority going on lunch dread. So you are just had to sit down there. And then the customs guy now make an announcement. The customs cashier still remains open. So everybody looking at like confused, like, what is this really? So I went by the cashier. I said, my boy, check for me to see if they call my name already now. Because I went in the washroom and I want to check. He said, nah, I doubt. I said, all right, brother. And I glimpsed a little sign on the glass saying, please walk with exact change. But it's not please like a pleasant statement. It ends with about 5 of them exclamation marks. So they're telling you, walk with your change is what they're saying in real life, right? So I say, okay. I sit back down now. So even if your name call now, because a few people, well, the name call to come and pay. But you can't leave because you don't pay customs with the Port Authority and lunch means your goods can't move. They're not coming out to the front until 12. I saw a like line. They must call my name about 11:45. Now I'm hungry, I'm irritated, I'm tired. And when I'm going up to the window now, my thing is 360. I have 400. The man say he had no change. The woman next to me, her thing is 120. She gave him 200. He say he had no change. Now mind you, I see somebody before me pay the exact money. Yeah? Them thing, let me say is $540. They give them 540 exact. So I'm saying, but at least you have $40 for me because I just see you take that. But I'm feeling sorry for people too because some people, I tell them, I say, brothers, keep the change. I'm not on that. I want to come out of here. And he did not hesitate to keep the change. He didn't really say nothing. A few people by the window turned around and asking people, anybody had change for 100? The staff playing them and hear that because as far as I'm concerned, that is the little daily hustle. That's how they get extra money on a daily basis. Because all them $20 and $40 add up when you have 100 people passing through there on a daily basis. You do the maths and see how much they could potentially split up among themselves if everybody say keep the change. Ridiculous. I also feel like it's in the best interest of the customs man not to just tell you pay 400. The customs man is a lord. He eyeballed the thing. He never even touched none of the items. I think wrap up in towel. He never asked me to open none of it. He just watched down in the barrel. He said, all right, you go pay a 360. You can't tell me that he could have say pay 400 flat because we don't have change. We're only using rounded figures right now. Because he's not using any particular system or calculating the value of them goods except his own experience and what he feel to do on the day. If he had a bad day, you could get charged higher, lower, or otherwise. No system whatsoever. When you reach there now, you have to pay 360. So that God himself got to tell me that is not a man's side hustle. Between the customs man, the cashier, everybody involved in customs, when they're done, what excess cash will remain there, right? Let me bust up that. If them men do that and change up that, there's a whole next salary, but you have to mind your next family and thing, right? So with that exact change ridiculousness, now I had to go back to the room where the woman was who letting you go for for your vehicle and all that, and sit down and wait for her to finish lunch. No, what I would like to say as well is that everybody in this equation so far are real pleasant. I ain't get no bad treatment, no huggish, nothing. It's just the system is terrible. The lady was very, very nice. What a gate out. So when she buy a back gate and I starting to see where the products are now, the boxes and the barrel and all them things, I say, all right, I'm done. Only to reach wrong in the back now. When you reach wrong there with your car, you have a next check-off system, a next window to go by for the man to sign off for your delivery. There's a next couple hours. So me and leave there till about 2 o'clock. So long and short of the story, I was too damn tired to go in the football. I couldn't make. But I just using that Port Authority story or that, call it a shipping story because there's port and customs involved, to show how comfortable we are with certain things in this country. Because nobody can tell me why a place like the Port Authority, but like customs in particular, as customs, a huge part of what you are dealing with as part of your operation is payment. It is a huge part of it because you have to do inspection and collect the payments for what's customs, and then those payments now, whatever you collect, have to be forwarded to whatever collection agency in terms of what is the revenue authority, whoever is dealing with the government money, is the central bank or whoever, it had to go there. Every day for the past 10 years, you collecting cash only. If you had kept the cash you had in a cash pan, you would have enough change for generations. How you could tell me that you walk with exact change, you don't have no change? You're doing a business, you have a float, there's people coming to deal with you. If people don't have change, it's your responsibility to have change for them. But we like corruption. We like to set up systems so that they could remain corrupt. They're designed for corruptibility, for things to slip through the cracks. Nothing to slip through the cracks like cash. No links or no visa. Why? This is the government. You telling me that one of the banks don't want to issue the government a links machine to run in customs? I understand some parts of licensing is the same thing. Cash only is ridiculous. Or a group of people or the system is collectively designed so that we don't put these things in place, because anytime they put links on credit card, that's stopping my side hustle and it's affecting my personal income. And this is why I say when we corrupt, because let me talk about myself as being corrupt, because I sit down there and did nothing about that. I just wanted to pay and get out. It had no change. I said, boy, just keep the change, $40. Me and Lawson no sleep over that. So that in itself is corruption and corruptibility. Because why we continuing to allow systems like this to go on for people to make our lives harder and make money by doing it? They're better off by making us worse off, and that is what corruption does. So I'll tell you a story about corruption in customs, right? 10 years ago, must be to the day. This 2022. This was about 2012. And now building my house and thing. Nah, it ain't so long ago, It's not 10 years. It was long, maybe 5-6 years ago, right? And now building my house and thing, and I need to get appliances and all them thing, right? So I can't afford to buy thing in Trinidad. It's hard. So I was going to Miami at the time. Stacey and I were going. So I say, you know what? I will make a list of the things that we want from the appliance sellers here that we want to buy them from. So these are like a final list of options, right? A decision set. I want to see which one of these things I'm buying. I had to buy fridge, stove, microwave, dishwasher. So it costing me a little bit of money. So I want to see if I could go Miami and save some money. So I write down the names of every item number that I'm looking at, and I write down the name of the store. So if I go in by this one, this one again. If I go in by this next one, this one again. I have about 3 lists there. And if I don't get anything in Miami to suit me and it's not going to be cheap enough, I'm buying it here. Final decision time. I went by BrandSmart USA and I make a next list now. I say, right, so I have a list to compare now. I'm talking about at least half the cost, right? For some of the same items I had on that list from Trinidad to the items that I get by BrandSmart. When I go on by Best Buy now, and I started asking for the item number. So now I item numbers for 4 different sets of things, right? And I tell them, I say, all right, check the prices on these for me because it's comparative pricing going down the line. I have a little paper in my hand, it's like an Excel sheet. I just comparing everything. And he told me, no, we don't carry this. This one discontinued. This one, listen, most of the list that I had from Trinidad was already discontinued. And a good few of the items I had from BrandSmart was discontinued. The man is telling me this, he pulling it up on the screen and he's showing you on the manufacturer website that these discontinued. I said, but what the hell is this? So when you're buying them things, be careful of places in Trinidad with them things. Like Google your own items and make sure, because discontinued mean that there's a possibility that getting parts and things for it will be hard. So same damn thing with BrandSmart USA. Watch it when you go there. So he also told me that he used to work BrandSmart before and he had to be careful shipping items in from BrandSmart because you may see a brand new boxed item on a showroom floor. But what they do is they then ship to you a item with a little ding or something because they know that thing coming back and it's what I sell for cheaper. That's it, right? I said, well, what are you going to recommend? The man carry me through and show me some appliances. Now, the appliances he showed me is a better brand name than the ones that I was considering. But in Trinidad, I cannot buy that brand name. That's too expensive for me. But when I watch the price comparison, I say, but wait, if I ship it in and pay duties and all that, I will still get almost the same price that I would have paid in Trinidad for a less sturdy or less reliable brand name, right? No pun intended. So I went through the list with this man and he gave me everything and I ended up buying everything by Best Buy. Salute to Best Buy. My spot for appliances and electronics going forward. I like them. They're good and you get a little point. You can get discount. So when you buy a whole fridge set, you have things to get in Best Buy for free after that. We get a whole free laptop with our purchase and we get all the points up towards it that you could buy other things when the time comes. Fast forward to Trinidad now. They call and tell me it's ready. I go on down on the port. Remember that you have an ATM limit every day, right? And this is not a barrel where a man telling me $360. So when I had to go in the port the day, I stopped by the ATM. I had 3 different bank cards from 3 accounts and I take out the maximum amount on them thing because when you're leaving home, you do not know. I know what was Latapy charges. I think I'd use Latapy. I know what Latapy charges, but I don't know what is that time it was Swissport. I don't know what Swissport had told me their charges, but I think the Port Authority had a fee to pay. Swissport might have been all that involved in that. But you don't know what the customs man is going to tell you. Now, you could, if you want, watch your items, take the cost and say, all right, well, electronics are 25%, and then VAT on top of that is, 15% at the time. And you could say, all right, well, based on that, I could walk with X amount of cash. So I take out all the cash I could have. Must be 2,000, I have cash all over, chuck in my back pockets. And when time come now, I pay this, I pay that. When the customs officer come, I am about $4,000 short of what I need to be able to pay it. And the customs not taking links and not taking credit cards. Most ridiculous thing. If I leave and don't take my items that day, I have to pay additional day for rent by the port. But I also going back to the back of the queue where I had to reach back the early in the morning because it's a first come, first serve basis. So I talking to our customs officer now and I say, boss, listen, I don't have enough money to pay for this thing. I want to get the money and think I could get it in the morning. But I want to come to you in the morning because I don't want to wait here a whole day. I'm done here for the whole day already. I don't want to end up waiting here to do this thing. He think he watch me this and that. You know what that man do? He say, how much you need? I say, well, I'm short. I say, it's a good amount. And I say, it's about 4,000 short. You know what I mean? He say, all right, just now. I'm watching him, he twisting and he turning and saying, no, when I went there to collect the items in the morning, this is before reach inside customer bounce. Our partner, my name Andrew Mills. I listen to this podcast. Salute my boy Mills. And going back to the customs officer now, you go understand why I talk about Mills in a little while. I get the 4,000. No, going back to the customs officer, he twisted and he turning and them thing. Then he called me in the office when nobody else wasn't in the office and hand me $4,000 roll up in cash. Right? I can't make this happen. The customs officer in his custom shirt take $4,000 in cash and hand me. He said, go ahead and pay for the items. I said, what? He say, yeah, don't worry about that now. You go pay me back that. He say, I'll call you. He say, he take my number and thing, and he say, I'll call you. I live in right. He say, I see where you live in. I see in your documents saying Shagona. He say, I live in right on Freeport there, man. You I'll call and you go meet man. You go give me. No, I frightened. Me don't like these kind of things. But I want to get my things and I want to get out of it. Now, when I tell him I 4,000 short, I counted the money I have in my pocket, right, to pay the thing. And I worried about this thing because now God himself got to tell me, because he not taking his own personal 4,000 to give me. I do not know this man from anywhere. I am guaranteeing you that he take that 4,000 out of the customs money. What is the public, the people money, the government money? One man pay for the things. And he take that and hand me. And weeks later, he called me because all then I frightened. I don't have this man number. I went back up there to ask for him and they tell me, first I want to get this man back his money. I don't want these kind of problems. He called me and he say, you're going to come down the highway now, you're going to meet me so and so. And I call him back and I meet him there and I hand him his 4,000. And that was the end of that. I'm so sure about what I take out because again, if I take out from the ATMs, like you say I have 4,000 in my pocket. I know it's 4,000 I need because of whatever the thing come up to. Forgetting that I had earlier paid the port rent and those things in cash. So now about seven, I can't remember how much it was, maybe 500-600. And it's good old Mills. Now, at this point, me and see Mills in years. I know him in Fatima, we went school. Well, apparently we went Newton together too. And I know him in TST and things. He's a good one generally, but again, I pressure to ask him because man must be watching you to say, look where this man come to. And he doesn't give me that knowing he never seen that money again in life. You ever get a man money and you call that dead one time? That man when you see this thing dead. I just had to say, Mills, hey, what's going on? I need that 500, but I don't have enough cash to pay these people. That man in blink eye, that man say, yeah, hold that and give me information and thing and where you working and them thing. To the point where I think I end up 100 short when I look out, I see him now driving, I had to flag him now. I say, Mills, boy, sorry, boy, but I need 100 again. This man, say, boy, this is a loser. But I had to borrow that money quick and get that thing. And I know how to get this man back $4,000 in cash. So when you see we have systems like these and the systems designed for corruptibility. Me ain't telling you nothing I hear about it. I telling you about what the man do. The man take out the money and hand me and I give him back. How many other people he doing that for with the government money where he collect because it's hundreds of thousands of dollars customs could have on hand at any one point in time. So if you find a way you could give a man this money and he come back and hand you have an easy way of moving money out of the system is ridiculous. Anyway, it's time to get out here. I just have a few more things I need to talk about. I want to talk about Trinidad versus Guyana first. Because this is not football, ladies. Don't worry, I'm not going back into sports, so let's keep calm. Trinidad versus Guyana is an interesting thing. And the vice president of Guyana, Jack Dale, made some statements recently that everybody seemed to be in uproar about. He said Trinidad in shambles and things. We talked about it last week. I didn't realize people were so offended by that. I think he did an excellent breakdown of why nothing he said was untrue and really just basically asking the question like why people are so upset. This is everything I've said is true. But one of the things he did also say is that Guyana or Guyanese nationals have been treated badly by immigration throughout the Caribbean. And Guyanese national, and he said nowhere more so than Trinidad and Tobago. I talk about this in classes when I do international business because when you're doing international business, a little bit of international relations comes up, as well as things like what happens on the port, shipping and handling and those types of things. At least on a basic level, it comes up, right? So I do an international business with students and I'm trying to tell them that there's things like what we call protectionism, right? The idea behind protectionism is that I make it difficult for people who are coming to do business in Trinidad as a way of protecting local businesses. So that if Kellogg's want to come and do business here, I stop them from coming so Sunshine Snacks could thrive. Because if Kellogg's come here and they have a much larger company where their cost of production is low and they could produce cornflakes for lower than we could produce it, they could actually sell a higher quality product for a lower price. So a lot of the business owners that we see that I hear talking now and who have businesses named after them and business schools named after them and so on, a lot of their wealth was based on protectionism because in the 80s, that's something called a negative list. And on that negative list, was things like snacks, apples, and grapes, and them things. You might remember that, right? So when the negative list basically means that you cannot bring the goods into the country at all. So they banned those goods from coming in, and then what it allowed is for Sunshine Snacks and them to make cornflakes, and is the only cornflakes we could buy. You create a sort of a monopoly, no competition. So hopefully those companies could make some money and better their things, get better equipment, better know-how, go down the learning curve, all these things, right? So protectionism is something that Trinidad, the best business people who say they're so innovative and so this and you call the name of the brand that the 1%ers or the biggest businesses in the country sell. And I could tell you that they were competing with something that was on the negative list before. It's snacks, it's beers, it's soft. You just go through the list, you'll see them. Where foreign goods could not come in, right? So when I hear Barrett Jack Dale talk about Trinidad being the worst place, this is where immigration is concerned, not just the bringing up products and also coming to work or business, right? I always talk about that in class as it being true. Trinidad is definitely a place like that will frustrate people from coming in and frustrate people from doing business, although you're not supposed to, because we belong to something called CARICOM and CSME, where there's supposed to be free movement of goods, services, and labor and investment. At the stage we are at now, it's supposed to be free because we have a union. But that union don't exist in Trinidad. We do. I remember a story about a guy who imported chocolates from Grenada. And when he imported chocolates, they tell him he had to move the content of the packages was on the front, but we changed the law. It had to be on the back now. So when he had the goods on the port here now, he either had to send back his goods Grenada to label over or keep it in a bonded warehouse now and pay probably one of the bigger label companies, I wouldn't call no names, that probably owned by the 1% too, to come into the bonded warehouse and reapply those labels. So it would have been enormously expensive to do that. And what you basically do there is raise the man cost of production per chocolate bar by making him have to pay that, waste his time with a product that could expire, and it make now the local chocolate look a little more attractive to the consumer, because it should have a longer shelf life and it might be cheaper than the other person who brings it in. So I think we had to face the reality that that's how we've been all the time. And listen, may God have mercy on our souls, because I always used to talk about this in class, when the tables turn and times change and we need to go somewhere, because I've seen it many times where the Caribbean Airlines have a flight coming in from New York that go in Guyana, and they file off the Guyanese people in a line off to the side and put them in an elevator, and we treat them badly. I don't know why. He was saying that if you ask any Guyanese national which countries treat them the worst, I thought they would have said Barbados, because Barbados immigration is rough. I don't like it at all. But he said most of the people would tell you Trinidad. And from my time lecturing in Guyana, I think it's true. And I will say that as a Trinidadian lecturing in Guyana, I have been treated so well every single. Listen, I talk about uncomfortably well. Guyana is now one of my favorite places, because they go out of their way, and I was like, listen, you don't have to do all this, and I come Guyana real often, and it's like, nah, you don't pay for nothing when you're here, you know what I mean? If you're in GT, we paying for you. It's Guyanese hospitality. I've never been treated like that anywhere I ever went. So they could easily treat me badly and say, listen, this blasted Trini, because I am there working. I'm taking a job from a Guyanese national, if you want to put it like that, by going there and I actually did take a job from a Guyanese national by going there and lecture. It was kind of direct, you know what I mean? I replaced somebody there, but they didn't. And we had to just hope and pray that Guyana don't seek vengeance and they treat us well, because that is the place where a lot of our expertise will apply now, because so many people make their money and their careers out of oil and gas in Trinidad, that when you are oil and gas now, most of them will be looking for work in places like Guyana. And we just had to hope that they allow us to work, because they could put the local content laws and things to make sure they didn't hire no Trini. We had to hope they allow us to do business, because even if you're not involved directly in oil and gas, a business like mine doing marketing and HR services, I want to do some business over there too, because that economy going up and rising fast, while Trinidad not so good, you know what I mean? All right, I just want to say that about that, and we hope that Guyanese people still continue to treat us nice, because I feel we in some trouble. I feel they may not. Well, so I feel. Or the jailbreak looking a little suspect. Apparently, they confirmed, like we said last week, they confirmed that the car was in fact rented on behalf of the prison officer. So I don't know how this man and the brother get his car. And apparently up to now, up to recording time, they have not yet charged the driver of the car, which indicates to me that something going wrong. Because the man said charge him for harboring. But apparently that didn't happen at all. So anyway, we done. This is long. This is when a man tell me the episode's going to be over 2 hours. Or let her tell me, if this needs to be shorter. I saw Lasana and them going back to Birdie and Barney. No matter how long the interview goes for, they try to get their episode down to 1.5 hours. So all you need to let me know if this is going too long or if this helps. Because if it's 2 hours and you exercise, then the podcast should last you for 2 days. You exercise for an hour each day, it should go through the day. And in these little islands, none of our commutes, the podcast that I listen to is be 2.5, 3.5 hours sometimes. I like that. But none of our commutes last that long. I suppose it might last that long again because the country fully open back. The boss say, no more restrictions. Everybody free. Do as you please. Party, school opening back, work opening back. Have a fete, have a time. No more, what you call the thing now? Numbers. You could have any amount of numbers. You could have fete. Josie's Jamison is coming up. Like, I can't go that. We accept an antigen test to come in the country. It's freeness. Within a week or two, it will say no masking required. There's no more safe zones. You could go anywhere and eat, leave anytime. We're good to go. So expect the traffic to go back to long. So if the 2 hours episodes working, give me some feedback. Let me know in the YouTube comments, or if we need to be shortening them, let me know. Now I promised earlier that before I go, I want to play a little tune for somebody, because people come back here on vacation and then they it didn't go very well. I just want to play this song as one of these songs before I leave this episode. Take this in for me.
Zelda, would you leave my dog alone? He much rather to be on his own. Every night you come, you scratch his head, disturbing the dog from going to bed. Don't touch him, it isn't right. He's not a pet dog. He likes to bite, and when he bites you and cause trouble, Kitchener is not responsible. I told you the dog is dangerous. At nights he's always like a shark, and anything can happen in the dark. Don't touch him, it isn't right. He's not a pet dog. He likes to bite, and when he bites you and cause trouble, Kitchener is not responsible. What is this friendship all about? Putting your finger in his mouth, getting him angry just for fun, and when he attacks you want to run. Don't touch him, it isn't right. He's not a pet dog. He likes to bite, and when he bites you and cause trouble, Kitchener is not responsible. When is this nonsense going to stop? You still insist to touch him up. Last night I caught you in the act, stroking him softly on his back. Don't touch him, it isn't right. He's not a pet dog. He likes to bite, and when he bites you and cause trouble, Kitchener is not responsible.
Yes. That was just, you know what I mean, dedicating that to people. I ain't calling no names. Lord, great Lord Kitchener. Have a calypso for every season and every reason. I want to just end this episode again saying, whatever you do, meditation, prayer, whatever, do it for blacks, right? I heard a story that blacks was out of the hospital. I just want to celebrate that, and we hope and pray that blacks is all right. Especially in light of things opening back up and performances starting back, and a carnival clearly in the making, because I see Tribe done sell out the pre-registration. I see a video come out from Yuma recently, so it looked like we're back on the road. So prayers up for blacks. But until next week, Tuesday,